Hello, Trade Pros. This is Victoria from Tradepro Academy. We've got yet another video for you today, and the topic of today's video is the best two charts for futures trading. Now, what we're going to do is show you two pivotal charts that we use every single day to successfully trade the futures market, specifically focused on the S&P 500. Now, as you can see on my screen, we've got one of them. Before we get into this, if you guys are new to the channel and you really like what we do and you don't want to miss another video, hit that subscribe button down below and ring that little bell to notify you when we do go live. Don't forget to like this video, and let's go ahead and get started. Now, the futures trading market moves tick by tick. I'm sure a lot of you know that, and 4 ticks makes a point, especially here on the S&P 500. That's not the case all the time, but we're going to be focusing on this equity market today. And we're going to be looking at the two best charts, the two most pivotal charts that you guys should be looking at every single day to confirm that market structure and think of those great trade ideas. And the first being the 10-tick chart. So the first chart we're going to look at here is the 10-tick. The 10-tick is a range chart that actually prints 10 ticks from the top and bottom of the extremes of the candle. So every candle is actually congruent except for the length of the wick and the body. It'll print 10 ticks from top to bottom. Now, why this chart is significant and what this chart means for us is it tells us the general overall trend on a pretty macro view. If you day trade, macro could just be a few days of the actual price movement here on this chart and on this instrument. Now, why it's important is it identifies key extreme levels pretty visually and very evidently for traders to mark up and locate for their next potential trade opportunities. Now, the reason for a tick range bar chart is that, again, the data moves tick by tick, and we want to see the incremental shifts and the actual movement rather than a time-based movement, because the time-based movement only prints 1 or 2 candles in a specific time, while a tick chart will print as much as the chart is moving. As you guys can see, this is the 10 tick. Now let's compare it quickly to what a 10-minute chart actually looks like, and you guys will see the difference. Now, on the left-hand side here, we've got the 10-tick on the left-hand side, we've got the 10-minute chart here versus the 10-tick chart. So every candle right here is printed every 10 minutes, while every actual 10-tick move is printed within a candle on this chart. Now here you can see that this chart is a lot more cleaner and visualizes where the extremes are pretty well in comparison to this 10-minute chart. It really keeps you on side of the trend and can keep you in trades longer rather than looking at 10-minute charts. Here there's a lot of swivels, there's a lot of rotations, weird price action, while here it's very, very systematically represented within this chart, the direction of the trend, the potential support and resistance levels. Well, on a 10-minute here, you might have to zoom out a lot to see some of these extremes. It gives you the movement based on time. Now, I'm not saying time charts are the devil in futures trading, but the 10 tick really, really identifies those key support and resistance structures and directions of the trend. Now, the 10-minute could be used in looking at an overall scale. However, I would push it back to maybe 1 hour chart or maybe a 2-hour chart to see the general real extremes of support and resistance, while this intraday trading chart here, this 10 tick, is a lot better for applying those levels if you're going to trade on an intraday basis. Now, the next chart we're going to look at here is pretty similar to the 10 tick, but it's actually the 5 tick. Now, the 5 tick chart represents the same thing as the 10 tick, except on a more intricate view. Now, right here, this is my 5-tick chart. You can see it's got some volume profiles in it, but what it is just a 5-tick range chart, so just a half of the 10-tick. And what that does is identifies levels really, really well in terms of rotation. So what we like to do is actually draw our levels, draw our extremes on the 10-tick. Let's go ahead and do that. Once we draw these levels on the 10-tick here on CR charts, we can see that they transfer pretty seamlessly over to our 4-tick. Now what I've done is draw the support and resistance line. Let's make it a little more evident. And we'll find our extremes, and then we'll see how it relates to the 5-tick chart that we've got. Now what I can do is just copy and drag some of these levels right here where you can see that we've got some very evident support and resistance somewhere down here where these peaks kind of come into consolidation with these support levels. And then let's say somewhere down here where you can see some resistance structure forming out and support structure. Maybe just move this guy a little higher here. You've got one more around this area, right where price kind of failed. And just looking at this current market structure based on the past few days, just marking some of these key resistance and support levels based on the extremes. Now, what we'll do is actually look at this 5-tick chart here, and those levels were overlaid. What the 5-tick really does, it gives us a more intricate view of the 10-tick. We've already marked our levels, marked our extremes. It gives us more of a visual on where price really struggles based on these support and resistance areas. Once it hits a resistance, if it struggles with a few rotations, you know that this is a key level that price may fail from. Now, alternatively, if we do break a level like that, rotate back down, you know where that support structure will be in the continuation of the trend based on a lot of these rotations. The use of the 5-tick is just the intricacy of the chart and where you can identify potential trades a lot more easily after you've done your analysis on the 10-tick on the overall general trend. Now, we've done a lot of videos on the pullback trade, which is one of my favorite trades, and what you can see evidently here, if we break these tops, you want to pull back into this broken resistance for potential longs, and that's exactly what we get right here. The same thing, you break some of these tops on a more intricate basis, you can see that there are slightly more levels, more support and resistance levels on this 5-tick. You break this top, we draw this line horizontally across, and you get 2 chances for the potential long. Now, if you guys want to see more on the pullback strategy, we have a great video on how you can make $300 in a single day trade in the futures market with that simple trading strategy. Now, if you guys enjoyed this video, drop a like, show me a comment down below what you'd want to see next. And this is Victoria from Tradepro Academy, and I hope you guys enjoyed. Take care.